Hello, everyone. It's good to be here. Happy Monday. If you join this, when you join this, say hello. Feel free to ask questions, share your comments and thoughts. Hey, Danielle, good to see you. I found myself in doing some work today, wondering what questions people are asking themselves right now or asking each other, whether it's our family, our friends, because, of course, most of us have been self-isolating or quarantined at home for weeks now. And in some communities, the numbers or the curve has flattened, which of course was one of the goals of that. Other communities, of course, are experiencing still pretty high numbers. And some states are already reopened or in a phase of reopening. Mine is in phase one of reopening. And then there are other states that has not occurred yet. Some states are working together and creating a regional approach. Others are just doing their own thing. And it certainly doesn't seem as if there's been a cohesive federal response. So I know that that's led to a variety of feelings, a lot of uncertainty, and people being afraid or scared, certainly questioning what's going to happen next with all of this. There are, of course, predictions, and some people who are saying we're doing it too soon, and some people saying we're not doing it fast enough. On one hand, I'm just glad I'm not the one to make those decisions for the states and certainly for the country or beyond. I'm glad that doesn't fall in my hands. But with that said, how we ask questions of ourselves and those we love during this time can really set us up to support the direction that we want to be going. Hey, Kel. Or it can be creating circumstances that we don't want to be living and experiencing. You know, even myself and thinking about getting on here and doing this live, I found myself thinking about the way that we ask questions can give us answers that we're really not wanting those answers because we're asking the wrong question. So what do I mean by that? Well, an example right now is I'm hearing people say, you know, I'm not really changing anything. I'm not going out until there's a vaccination. I'm going to, I'm going to keep staying at home. I'm going to keep isolating. And it has us remaining in a state of uncertainty, in a state of contracting, you know, kind of like pulling things around us to maintain our some semblance of feeling in control and being safe. And so I came up with two questions. One being, how can I be safe moving forward? And another way to approach it would be, I'm afraid, so what do I do? Because those are essentially the questions that I've been seeing. Like, I want to move forward, and I'm not quite sure how, or I'm afraid, so I don't know if I'm ready to move forward. So how can you ask questions that help you get the response or the answer that you're actually looking for? So one of the first things that we can do is, what's your goal? Because unless we know where you want to go or what your goal or the result is that you're looking for, again, we might be asking the wrong question. So for those who are watching this and for those who watch this later, what's your goal during this time? As states start to reopen, what's your goal? Now, I know my goal is, and please post it in the comments if you can. I know my goal is to continue to be safe for me, for my wife, and for those I interact with. And I want to do that in a way that allows me to start becoming more active and involved in my community as it opens up. So my question for myself is, how can I take care of myself and others? How can I be safe as I become more active in the community? What's your question? Now, is there uncertainty? Is there some fear that may be coming up for you? Absolutely. And what your answer to your question is may be different than mine, because of course our circumstances may be different. I'm originally from Massachusetts, and what's going on in Massachusetts is different than what's currently going on here in North Carolina. I've also lived in Georgia, and what's going on in Georgia is different than where I live now in North Carolina. So your circumstances and how you answer those questions may be the same or similar to me, but the time frame may also be different. Now, I see Danielle says, my goal is to stay safe, listen to my gut, and follow my intuition. Okay, so to put that in a question, if the goal is to stay safe, listen to intuition, listen to her gut, yeah, how can I stay safe while listening to my inner voice? And, well, I'll let Danielle answer that for herself, and she, of course, can share that in the group. Now, I know my question on how can I stay safe and be aware of the safety of others as I become more active, engaged in the community is, for me, I know is based on my intuition, is based on listening to that inner voice. Now, what the response that I've got from some people is like, I don't know how to handle, or I don't know what to do next, or how do I figure out what to do next? First step, figure out your goal, which we just did. The second step is ask open-ended questions. We've heard of open-ended questions or yes and no questions. Open-ended questions allows us to ponder possibilities. It allows us to see opportunities, where of course closed-ended questions give us a very definitive answer. So instead of asking, are you ready to go out in your community? Another question would be, how can I be safe to go out in the community? Can you see the difference? And then of course, some people are like including the words fear or afraid or it's too soon. So a question might be, despite fear, when is it time to go out in the community? Danielle says, I'll wear my mask when I'm out, keep social distance, maintain my headspace positively, and dream of what I want in my future to look like. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So how can you do that for you? How can you create that energy for yourself? Whether you're feeling ready to go out, or maybe you're ready to go out, or part of you is ready to go out. Maybe your body is ready to go out. You want to see people, but then there's that part of you that's saying, oh, but I don't know. I don't know if that feels good. The question you might ask is, how can I feel good about getting back out in the community? Or what are the circumstances? I'm also being aware. What are the circumstances that I want to witness, that I want to create, that I want to be a part of, that lets me know it's time to go back out into the community versus I'm not going out or I'm not changing things. It has us, and you might have seen me, I'm like backing up, because if we're approaching this from I'm concerned, I'm afraid, then yeah, we tend to step back. We tend to contract when it may be time to open up to possibilities. Now, there are some excellent, of course, resources to help you determine what questions, maybe good questions for you to be asking, whether it's you're having a conversation with yourself, with your spouse, with your family, with friends, maybe with people who are owning or leaders in business, and they're trying to decide whether or not to open up, and how do we do it so our employees feel safe, they feel like we're ready to come back to work. And a couple of resources that I would recommend are Conversations Worth Having. There is a book, and there's also, they have a starter kit that allows you to get information to help you ask good questions, ask better questions to get the answers that you're actually looking for. And they have a focus on generating engagement and also positive responses. So that's Conversations Worth Having is a great resource for that, because especially for ourselves, when we're asking questions of ourselves, I don't know about you, but I tend to be critical, certainly have a lot of history in being critical of myself. So asking generative questions that, what's the term that they use, that are appreciative in value, that add value, that are positive in value, is part of the model of Conversations Worth Having. So certainly check that out. And if you're wondering if your question is the right question and you're struggling with that, or you're not feeling like you're getting that, you're getting the answers that you're looking for, feel free to post those
low battery
here.
Discharge.
Feel free to post those here, so that way we can work on that together. Danielle goes on to say, I know I don't want to get out in my community yet. Here in Massachusetts, they're still closed down. I have found I can be there for those in need in other ways than physically. I see my mom outside. I try to keep a positive attitude even when things get crazy. Yes, I know. I saw my in-laws yesterday, and we did it outside. We did it social distancing on the porch, so that way we could still see them, but not have that same level of interaction that we would normally do prior to COVID. So yes, there are ways to be creative and to still communicate and come together, still see each other. I mean, virtually certainly is one of them. Thanks, Danielle, for that. And again, what is right for you goes back to you and the questions you're asking yourself and the answers that you're getting for yourself. Because what's best for you may not be best for someone else, whether it's because of location or because of something else that we may or may not be aware of. The goal is to be open to the possibilities and opportunities opportunities and possibilities available and open to us. And that's key, because even in Massachusetts, I'm sure, as in North Carolina, when I go out, I see some people in masks, I see other people not. I see some people all gloved up and other people not. I know there are some people that I've talked to who haven't left their house. They're getting things delivered. And I know others are going out regularly. And anything in between. I don't know what all their circumstances are. They don't know what all mine are. So the importance is asking questions and generative questions, questions that are going to give us those possibilities, give us those opportunities to answer them for ourselves in a way that feels really good for us. That's key. That's key. So I'd love to hear what questions that you're asking yourself, if they're getting you the right answers, and if you're struggling with that, feel free to post your questions or comments below. Because how we take care of ourselves, how we support each other through all of this is what is going to continue to either boost us and bring us up, bring us together, or create struggle, and that doesn't feel so good. At least, well, it doesn't feel so good. We'll leave it there. All right, everyone, I'm sending you lots of love, and of course, all things fucking fantastic. Until we connect again, I love y'all.